Welcome to Memento Argentum, where remembering the silver screen is a requirement, not a request. I am your host, E. Lynn, and allow me to tell you a spooky tale. A young lady goes into a bird shop. No, this is not the beginning of a joke. Quite the opposite, unfortunately. There she meets a gentleman who toys with her as she has apparently done the judicial system. After all, he would know as he's a lawyer. The reason she gets away with that sort of thing is because she's the daughter of a rich man. The man toying with her, the lawyer, is looking for a pair of lovebirds for his younger sister, and is unable to find them in the shop. Because she is feeling very affronted by how he messed with her in the shop, the young lady goes out and purchases a pair of lovebirds and intends to deliver them to his sister just to, toy with him back. She decides to pursue him. Now, once she decides that, she decides once she decides that, she gets the license plate number of his car and asks a friend to track it down. Then she goes to deliver the birds that she bought, and she's going to leave them anonymously on his doorstep of his apartment, but then she's informed that he'll be out of town for the next few days, which means she can't leave them there. Now, she wants to play a prank, but she doesn't want to be outwardly malicious. Finding out where he's gone, she follows him there, leaving the birds at his family home as a present for his sister, as he had intended. Since he's the only one home, he finds the birds, and now he's the one pursuing her. He's able to get ahead of her due to knowing the area well, and waits for her to reach him, more than happy to play the last few steps of this little game. However, before she can reach him, a seagull swoops down and strikes her on the head. Not knowing why that happened, everyone brushes it off as a one-time fluke. That night, another weird occurrence with a bird happens. This time, it's a seagull killing itself by ramming into the front door of the house she's staying at for the night. The next day, the gentleman's sister is having a birthday party. In the middle of a party game, again, the birds do something unusual. They attack everyone who is outside during the game, and the kids and adults run for safety, also known as the nearby house. This is no fluke. As the attacks get progressively worse, everyone wonders what's going to happen next, and also, can we survive? The Birds was released in 1963 and starred Tippi Hedron as Miss Melanie Daniels, the main character, Rod Taylor as Mr. Mitch Brenner, Jessica Tandy as Mrs. Lydia Brenner, and Suzanne Pleshette as Miss Annie Hayworth. It was rated PG-13. It was also based off of a story by Daphne du Maurier, which I have not had the pleasure of reading. This is also not the first time that Hitchcock adapted some of her work, if I'm not mistaken. This was a request by a subscriber, and thanks for that, because I don't mind reviewing Hitchcock. It would have been nice to do them all in a bulk, because I've got a box set of them, but, I can do that one at a time. That's the reason this cover looks a little bit funky, because it's from the set. This has multiple in there. It's Torn Curtain, Marnie, Topaz, and the Birds. So it's a box set of Alfred Hitchcock's best. Well, Alfred Hitchcock's work. Something I'd like to bring up. The soundtrack is unusual. I did not realize until 3/4 of the way through the film, maybe a little less than that, but it was still a good way into the film before I realized there is no soundtrack. The soundtrack is the sound of birds. And that brings in that creeping sense of dread that you slowly get, even now, even seeing that some of the special effects have not aged as well as they could have, it still like drags at you, that feeling of dread, because you're not hearing music to relieve the tension. You're just hearing birds. And because the birds are the antagonists, you don't like that sound. The directing for this movie is obviously going to be amazing. I mean, it's Alfred Hitchcock. He may not have been a great man to be directed by, according to some of his former employees, based off of some of the things that people have heard about Psycho and a couple of other movies. But the man knew how to stage scenes to be slowly creeping. And he didn't mind getting his hands dirty if need be either. The actors did a great job. Tippi Hedron did a great job as the main character. She kind of plays it a little bit mysterious, a little bit mischievous, and a little bit. No one ever really forced her to grow up, so she didn't, which works perfectly for the character. Rod Taylor. I spent the first few lines of his thinking about 101 Dalmatians because he's the voice of Pongo. And it's a little unfortunate, but it's also a good thing. I mean, he was in other films aside from this one. He was, obviously, and he didn't just do voice acting, because I believe he was the one in the Time Machine, right? That was him in the Time Machine, which I quite enjoy. And everybody did good job. I mean, Jessica Tandy. It's Jessica Tandy. Batteries Not Included was my jam growing up, so it's great to see her younger, because obviously this was far before Batteries Not Included, so it's great to see her before, and she still kind of had that presence that she had in Batteries Not Included, so that was great to see. I believe that the story still flows fairly well. It does have a slow burn. That is one thing that this one and the previous one that I reviewed, Changeling, they both have slow burns. And I forgot to mention that in the review for the Changeling, but I'm doing it now. But The Birds has a very slow burn, and then once it kicks off, it kicks off. This one is much closer to the quintessential slasher movies, monster movies, than The Changeling is. The Changeling is definitely the slow burn with the, yeah, there's going to be that big boom at the end, but it's not slow with pops of the boom beforehand. It's build, 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 and explode. Birds, on the other hand, is like build, pop, build, pop, build, pop. Like it gets bigger and bigger as it's going. And I really like that because that's a different way of doing horror, and I quite enjoy the changes. That's the reason I like movies. You can see differences in directing, you can see differences in the way they handle suspense or conversation, because sometimes directors give very weird directions for the conversations that characters have. And you can tell that because of the way the actors deliver the lines. Joss Whedon has made a name for himself by doing that with actors. However, he knows how to make it sound natural and to get his actors to sound natural so it doesn't become super obvious unless you're looking for it. I believe that this is a good film. It worked really well for what it's there for. I mean, one of my all-time favorite scenes from a horror film has got to be the park scene. And I'm trying to keep it vague because if you haven't seen it, you really need to see it. If you're a horror fan at all and you have not seen The Birds, what are you doing with your life? This is one of the classics. The park scene has been made fun of multiple times. However, even with all of the jokes made about it, it still works. If you are watching the film, you still feel that tension, that suspense, that urgency in that moment that you need to. So kudos to Alfred Hitchcock for doing a good job. But of course he did. This is considered one of his best. I guess it'd be silly to expect it to be a bad one. I do reiterate, though, that the special effects, quite a few of them have not aged fantastically. But if you can push past the slightly antiquated special effects, it is a very good movie, totally worth seeing. And of course, I'm going to be a little bit more lenient of it because I love these types of films. That's the reason I'm doing this. I want to do these reviews to share them with other people. Again, I've got movies on lineup for doing reviews. I will be trying to get through them. I'm probably going to be trying to do like a couple over a week at a time just because of how many have built up, and holidays messed me up on that. And I feel really bad about that. So I'm probably going to get out all of the ones that I've got backlogged over the next couple of weeks. And then I'll be completely open for new requests. So if you want to place another request, go for it. If you haven't placed a request but you've got an idea of a movie, leave it in the comment section. I am more than happy to take a look at them. Even if I'm not going to do it right away, I will put it on my list. I will leave you a comment letting you know. Or if you're one of my friends, because a lot of my subscribers are, um, I'll just let you know in person that I'm doing it. But I am going to be doing the reviews more and more frequent right now just to catch up, because I do feel bad about slacking off so hard, because I made it sound like it would be such a short time between reviews, and then I was just gone. And I felt really bad about that. I know I shouldn't worry about it so much, but I do want to get better, so I'm going to try and make it a goal that I'm at least doing 2 a week. I'm going to try and do more than that right now just to get caught up. So don't be afraid to leave a request. I do have those backlog ones. I've got one more to do for this week, and then I've got another 6 that I've got to watch that I need to do. So don't be afraid to offer. Please like, please comment. If you like these videos, subscribe. I wouldn't judge you if you don't, because frankly, I'm recording on a laptop with no microphone and no extra webcam. I'm using my webcam from my laptop. So, hope you enjoyed this review. Join me next time for MASH. Yes, the movie, not the TV series. I'm not doing that yet, but I can. But join me next time for MASH the movie. Until then, adieu.